graph shows a piecewise function j of x. If h of x represents the inverse of j of x, what is the maximum value of h of x? Oh, cool, a calculator problem that we don't need a calculator for. It's happened a few times if you're watching all of my videos, and this is where it happens again. I don't need a calculator for this. Why it's in the calculator section, I don't know, to confuse you. But what I have is I have a regular function here, and I care about the inverse. Now, I am not an artist. What I don't want to do is I don't want to graph this just by looking at it. So let's use the idea of what an inverse actually does. First off, this is j of x. Okay, so let's write out a table for j of x using what looks like the 4 dots that I have. So I have x, I have j of x, and I have 0, 0. That's an obvious point. I have 4, 4. That's an obvious point. I have 5, 3. That's an obvious point. And I have 8, 9. That's an obvious point. Now, the first step in finding an inverse is swap the y and the x values. So why should that change here? So 0, 0 swapped becomes 0, 0. Good job. 4, 4 swapped becomes 4, 4. Good job. 5, 3 swapped, finally a change, is 3, 5. Good job. And then 8, 9 swapped is 9, 8. Now this is my h of x function. Now if you wanted to graph it, you could dot here, 3, 5 is a dot here, and then 9, 8 is a dot here. So you would connect these two. Now, by the way, if you're like, why hasn't it changed here? Graphically, the inverse is a reflection over the y equals x axis. This part right here is the graph y equals x. So this is a reflection, so nothing changes. Now we finally do have a reflection. And, oh, please let me graph this well. Nailed it. Now, that was extracurricular. I didn't need to do any of that. What I really needed to do is now that I have h of x, I just needed to find out the maximum value, and that maximum value is 8, not 9. 9 is not a maximum value. When they talk about maximum values, they mean the maximum value that shows up on the y-axis. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be 8c is my guy. So we did a little extra here, but you know what? I had fun. And look at the pretty little drawing we made. It looks like a arrow with a disability. 39th problem, or 38th problem. Oh gosh, hope this helps.